Welcome to my talk. I am Mr. Mbogwa Kamau, a motivational speaker, an empowerment specialist. It's my sincere purpose and hope that today I'll be able to stir enthusiasm in you, to bring out the potential hidden in you. I'll do so by taking you through this talk entitled The Fourth Dimension. As you may be aware, from elementary science we learn that matter exists in three states. We are familiar with the three states of matter, that is the solid, the liquid, and the gas state. Are you aware that there is a fourth state of matter? Most of us can operate in three dimensions. We know very well. We can think of anything that has volume will have three dimensions. Those are the three dimensions of space: the length, the width, and the height. But just as we have seen about the four states of matter, there is the fourth state of matter, and there is also the fourth dimension of space. If you are not aware, the fourth dimension of space is time. The fourth dimension of space, being time, means that any two locations may have the same dimensions in terms of the length, the width, and the height. But what makes the difference between any two spaces and the other is time. Allow me to go back to the four states of matter and bring out a fact. While there are the three basic states of matter, to move from one state to the next state of matter, we need to add energy. As a solid moves from solid state to liquid state, it requires injection of energy. For a liquid to move from liquid state to gas state, it requires an injection of energy. For a gas to move to the fourth state of matter, the plasma state, it requires more injection of energy. Therefore, in my talk on fourth dimension, I wish to challenge you today to operate and to be conscious of the fourth dimension. As I've already said, we are very familiar and very comfortable operating in one dimension, two dimension, three dimension. But the majority of us are not even aware of the fourth dimension. Take it from me, it is the fourth dimension that makes all the difference. It is the fourth dimension which distinguishes us from others. It is the fourth dimension that makes us losers or winners. It all depends on, do we know the fourth dimension? What is the fourth dimension? The fourth dimension is that state of mind that allows us to differentiate in or between the three basic states of existence. My talk is meant especially for the youth. I want to target two groups of youth. The youths who are in school, formal areas of formal centers of learning. So I'll divide my talk into two, where I will address the four essential T's for a student, and also I will also discuss the four states of personality development, targeting the students who are out of school, them that have gone through the formal school learning system and maybe at home, or they may be contemplating further studies. At this point, allow me to revisit the four states of matter. At the four states of matter, I did say that for you to move from one state to the next state, you require an energy input. You must heat a solid if you want to make it a liquid. You must heat a liquid if you want to get a gas out of it. That is, the higher the energy state, the more the energy possessed. But similarly, every time a gas loses energy, it cools and falls down to a liquid state. Every time a liquid cools, it freezes to the solid state. That is to say, in my fourth dimension, I'll be challenging you as a youth, whether you're in school or you are just out of school. If you want to be a success, you must be aware of the fourth dimension, and you must be conscious of the fact that to move from one state to the next, you require to inject energy. If you sit idle, you lose energy, you fall down to lower and lower states of existence. Now, still touching on the four states of matter, I mentioned to you that the fourth state of matter is the plasma state. Are you aware that some of the simple examples of matter in plasma states are a burning flame? A burning flame is both a source of energy in terms of heat as well as a source of light. Another common thing to you and me that is in the fourth state of matter is the sun. The sun is a source of all energy used up and necessary for life as we know it. The sun is a source of all energy in the world. That is to say, it is the fourth dimension that will preserve your life. It is the fourth dimension that will maximize your life. As far as the four dimensions of space are concerned, allow me to revisit. I did say the four dimensions of space are the length, the width, and the height. But the fourth dimension is time. All the physical dimensions may be the same for any particular space, but it's the fourth dimension, that is time, that distinguishes between the best and the worst. My challenge, my purpose with this talk is to challenge you to earn value with time, to produce results, to produce fruits. At this juncture, I want to mention the four essential T's for a student. For any student to score his best, the best of his potential, every student will require the four T's. Take note. The first three are obvious. And the first three T's are time, tools, and theory. I will explain. We require time to go through the stipulated course. If you are a primary school student, you require 8 years to undergo the 8 years of primary course. If you are a secondary school student, you require 4 years to go through the secondary course. If you don't have these 4 years, you have no hope. In that, you will only get the certificate for that particular course at the end of the stipulated time. For you to have a score at the end of the course, you must be prepared to invest the time equivalent to the stipulated time. If you're a university student, 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, you sit a final exam, you get your degree. Therefore, every student shall have to invest some time. Other than time, the second T stands for tools. What are the tools that the students requires? All students will require simple and basic but mandatory tools. I'm thinking of a pen, something as simple as a pen. Writing material, geometrical sets for secondary school students, a dictionary for English students, a laptop for university students, and so on and so forth. It will be very unfortunate if any student were to go to school and deny himself a calculator, a four-figure table. All these are tools. The third T is theory, the knowledge that we learn in school. This theory is all over. The theory is in the books, it is in the teachers, it is everywhere. And this is what will distinguish between a successful student and a failing student. How much theory, how much knowledge does the student have? The first three T's are obvious for students. If you have no time, we shall tell. You miss classes, you don't complete the course, and therefore, it will be obvious if you have the time or you have no time. The tools are visible. You either have them or you don't have them. The theory will be tested by way of an exam. If you have the theory, you have the expected skills, you have the knowledge, it will be captured in the exam. Every person can tell. So the first three basic T's are easy to tell if you have them or you don't have them. It's the fourth T that makes the difference. What is the fourth T for a student? It's the fourth T that separates the winners from the losers, from the achievers, separates the achievers from the mediocre. What is this T? The fourth T is nothing other than the target. Did you get that right? The target, the goal. That winning student will only win not by having the requisite first three T's, not just having time, not just having the tools, not just having the theory. The winning student will be a winning student because he or she has a target. It is this fourth T that will inspire the student to maximize his time, to equip himself with all the tools necessary. It is this fourth T that will make the student to aspire to amass as much knowledge, as much theory as necessary. At this point, allow me to share with you a quote. It goes like, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." That's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'll repeat. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Why do I bring in that quote at this point? It is because, as I have said, the first 3 T's for a student are obviously apparent. We can easily tell if a student has time, if a student has tools, if a student has the theory. But it is not so obvious to tell whether a student has a target or not. The target is within him. It is in his mind. It is the student who sets the target for himself, drives himself to achieve his target. When he achieves his target, we call him a successful student. It is obvious that if you have no target, you won't miss it, and you also not hit it, because you don't have it in the first place. So, in my talk, I want to identify the target as the 4th dimension. It is easy to operate in the first 3 dimensions. It is easy to convince everybody that you have the time, that you have the tools, that you have the theory. But you got to get to it that you have the 4th dimension. You got to ensure that you have all the above. But don't forget that what makes the real difference is the 4th dimension, the 4th T. Did you get that? It is the 4th dimension that makes all the difference. At this point, let me turn to the youth who are just out of school. The out-of-school youth is most likely to be concerned about his future. Which college am I going to join? Where am I going to get a job? Well, these are existential matters. Every student is concerned. What about my future? What about my tomorrow? Take it from me. For that person who has just gone through the secondary school course, the university course, if you are ready to fit in the job market, then there are 4 states of personal development which you must get right. You get them right, you shall be a success. You miss any one of them, you'll be challenged. Which are the 4 states of personality development? They're as follows. The first state of personality development is the dependency state. The second state is the independency state. The third state is interdependence, what I may call the interdependent state. And the 4th state, the 4th dimension, is the spirit-dependent state. I'll explain. For you who is an out-of-school youth, trying to fix yourself in the job market, or trying to select the next course of action, your best advice to be conscious of the first state, the dependency state. The dependent state is that state that a child who is very weak by virtue of age, or an adult who is a stranger in a particular environment, must exist in. It is a state where you have to rely on others to get your way around. You are dependent. Most of us look forward to the time when we shall not be dependent. We yearn to exit the dependent state. When we exit the dependent state, we move to the higher energy state, which is the independent state. What is the independent state? This is the state of personal development or the personal development where you feel you can be self-reliant. You can count on yourselves, your experience, your resources, your ideas, and you think and you feel you can do most things without relying on others. Unfortunately so. Most people don't grow beyond this personality state, and that is the risk. I am sharing with you that you have to operate in the fourth state, the fourth dimension. You must have the capacity to rise up from the lowest state up to the highest state and fall back. So those of you who are in the independent state, please reason. You have not yet achieved. You have to rise above the independence state and operate in a third state, the interdependence state. Allow me to explain the interdependence state. It is a level of personality development where you realize the value of others. You start thinking of cooperation, collaboration. You see the need to share with others, share time, share thoughts, have a joint effort to produce better and bigger results than you would possibly do as an individual. So the interdependence is a third state where you count on others to boost your resources, your ideas, and to make it easier to achieve your dreams. Is that all? Not really. I have gone through the first three states of personality development: the dependence state, the independence state, and the interdependent state. But I have insisted from my previous talk that so far it is the fourth state that makes the difference. So what is the fourth state of personality development? Listen. This is it. This is the state that separates us. The fourth state of personality development is the spirit dependence state. Allow me to share with you a quote so that I'll be able to clarify what I mean. My quote goes, I don't know what tomorrow